Limiting beliefs are those annoying flies that swoop in and poop on your ice cream, just as you're about to take a big slurp. They're not as easy to dispense with as a fly, but once we identify what they are, we can bring out our mental fly swatter and start to get rid of them. Identifying limiting beliefs essentially means that we have to be conscious of them and then challenge them. Carl Jung once said that until we make the unconscious conscious, it will rule our life, and we will call it destiny or fate. This is the step that we are taking today, to become conscious of your unconscious driving beliefs that are designed to keep you small and ineffective. I have a little exercise for you, but before we get into it, let me give you a small example from my own life. I live in a very hot climate, and I'm trying to create a lush garden. I was watering my plants the other day, and as I pressed the handle of the fancy attachment on the garden hose, a small part of it came loose and went flying into some nearby bushes. My immediate thought was, oh, for fuck's sake, I'll never find it in there. There are piles and piles of dead leaves and dirt under the bushes. I'd only bought this attachment a few months before, and so feeling a little outraged, I stomped out in the blazing sun to the nearby hardware store, which is about a 5-minute walk. To my frustration, it was closed. Just my bloody luck. It seems as if every day is a siesta in the small village where I live. On the walk home, I decided not to let my annoyance escalate, and instead told myself that I can, and I will, find the damn thing. I went back under the bushes and gathered up the dead leaves and dirt and carefully spread it out on the ground. After a couple of these scoops, I spotted a small piece of plastic perched daintily on a leaf. The mirror principle in action. As long as I was resistant to having any good luck, my luck decreased. But I was able to stop myself and recognize that I had certain beliefs about luck and even victimhood. The mirror principle worked perfectly once more, this time more favorably. I'd like you to go ahead now and think of a similar type of situation from your own life. It doesn't have to be a major event, just something recent where your innate beliefs dictated a negative reaction or feeling. When you've brought this event to mind, I'd like you to examine the scene as if it were on a screen in front of you. See yourself in the third person and watch the scene play out from a distance. How did you react? What did you feel about yourself? What did you feel about others and the world? Where did this reaction and the thoughts that came with it lead you? Did you become frustrated or similar? If not, then look for another event where you did have a reaction that led you to feel something negative about yourself, others, or life in general. The human mind evolved to look for patterns. Our survival depended on it. But it can also work against us when we have strong limiting beliefs. Sometimes a single limiting thought can lead to other limiting thoughts, and before you know it, you have a set of limiting beliefs that add up to form a worldview that might not be optimal for your well-being. So look for the underlying limiting beliefs that drove you through your negative event and make a note of them. Next, I'd like you to think about other negative experiences you've had and look at those reactions to see if you can find a pattern or theme. Take your time after this video to identify and write down the underlying limiting beliefs you have, based on your prevailing responses when things don't go well for you. For example, one of my prevailing beliefs is that the world is out to crush me. This belief formed when I was a child, but it's stuck in my brain, and I'm constantly having to self-correct my thinking. Sometimes limiting beliefs don't need a trigger. For example, those days when you wake up feeling like crap and filled with doubts, painful memories, or the yearnings of unrealized dreams. I call these unwanted thoughts, since they are like having really bad adverts show up in the middle of watching a great movie, just unnecessary and of no benefit at all. It was for this purpose that I created a meditation for removing unwanted thoughts. I'll leave the link in the description box and at the end of this video if you want to give it a try when you have these types of days. I'd also like you to evaluate your responses to positive events and make a note of them too, because limiting thoughts, sneaky bastards that they are, don't just show up when bad stuff happens. Here's a great example of this. Sinead O'Connor was an Irish singer-songwriter who rocketed to international success in the 1980s when she was still in her early 20s. I was listening to an interview she gave shortly before her death, and when the interviewer asked her how she felt about this incredible success at such a young age, O'Connor confessed that she suffered from acute imposter syndrome. She felt like a total fraud, and she couldn't figure out why this girl from Dublin had so much success. She didn't feel she deserved it. Her limiting belief was about her value and her worthiness. And she's not alone. There are a slew of rich and famous people who also feel like this, from Lady Gaga to Michelle Obama. Limiting beliefs can also have an impact on society, and not just individuals. In the early 1950s, it was widely believed that running a mile in under 4 minutes was physically impossible for humans. Doctors and sports experts argued that the human body simply couldn't withstand the intensity required to achieve such a feat. This belief became a psychological barrier that hindered runners from even attempting to break the 4-minute mark. However, in 1954, Roger Bannister, a British middle-distance runner, defied this limiting belief. He broke the 4-minute barrier by running a mile in 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds. Bannister's achievement shattered the long-held belief and showed that with the right training, mindset, and determination, the so-called impossible could be achieved. It serves as a reminder that our beliefs about what is possible can profoundly shape our actions and outcomes. Bannister's story demonstrates how challenging and overcoming a widely accepted limiting belief can lead to groundbreaking achievements and inspire others to push beyond their perceived limitations. After Bannister's success, several other runners quickly followed suit. In the years since Bannister's record was broken, the mile record has been lowered by almost 17 seconds by Hicham El Guerrouj from Morocco in 1999. Limiting beliefs can show up for us in all manner of ways. Do any of these sound familiar to you? I'm not good enough, believing that you're not capable or deserving of success, often leading to self-sabotage and missed opportunities. I can't change, thinking that your qualities, habits, and behaviors are fixed and cannot be improved upon, limiting personal growth. Neuroplasticity has demonstrated that the brain can undergo changes at any age, and it is within our capacity to actively train our brains to embrace change. Money is the root of all evil, believing that financial success is inherently negative or immoral, which can hinder your ability to create wealth and financial stability. I'll always be alone. Having a persistent belief that you're destined to be alone, which might impact your relationships and social interactions. I'm not creative. Believing that you lack creative abilities, which can prevent you from exploring new ideas and pursuing creative endeavors. When you identify a limiting belief, challenge it by asking yourself the following questions. Is this belief absolutely true? What evidence do I have that supports this belief? Have there been times when this belief wasn't true? The logic behind limiting beliefs is inanely simple. If you believe you can, you will. If you believe you can't, you won't. In order to create new neural pathways in your brain, one must constantly challenge and self-correct. Knowing what your default limiting beliefs or programs are is a huge step towards dismantling them and installing beliefs that align with your goals and values. And that's exactly what we are going to do in step 4 of this program. You're going to learn how to craft positive beliefs and create your own luck. Until then, take care and see you soon.